What's up, 508? We're back. Episode number 9. Am I right on that? Episode 9.
Yeah.
I got my 2 originals here, Andrew, Ryan. So, 508, we haven't been able to record as much as we'd like to recently, but time gets busy. But we're back. Andrew's back from his little stint away. Again, Andrew, thank you for all you do. Without people like you, man, we wouldn't be able to do this shit that we do. So thank you, and to all your peeps out there. 508, again, we're at Legacy Group, real estate, office, letting us use it again. We're reaching out. We've been reaching out. We do have a few places on our next couple episodes, I think, that we're going to get into. Sometimes with timing,
It can be tough
it can be tough.
trying to line it all.
Everybody has kids. Everybody has this time of year. It's just like, we all know about it. We were talking about it on an episode one day, but I think we just get frustrated.
Maybe.
Yeah, we all get kind of frustrated. So let's start this episode here off with, if you guys follow us on social media and all of our platforms that we're on, you might have seen a rant this week. Did you see it, Andrew?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
I saw a rant this week. We just want to talk about the NBA as a whole. What's going on, what we like, what we don't like. Of course, the Celtics are out, so nobody likes it anymore around here. Green team is it
100% green team.
Green team is. So
They're a different
the man with the rant himself, speak on that a little bit. How you feel about it?
All right. Well, first thing I'll say, again, I mentioned this last time. Apologize for the Knicks. They're a very good team. They're in the finals, rightfully so. I talked shit about them. I was in favor of the Celtics, who, it is what it is. But about my rant. So the NBA has become, in my opinion, almost borderline disgusting to watch at times. If you watch the series at all, I tuned into the Spurs and the Thunder because I'm watching the reigning champs and the 2-time MVP go against the 22-year-old phenomenal player Wembanyama, and I was excited to see what it looked like. There's been times where the game looks exciting. The Thunder make good plays. They have a lot of good players, good passing, good coaching. They win. They look good. Then you watch the Spurs look great. Wembanyama hitting half-court shots, they look great. And then you have the games where they're shooting 70 free throws. You have the games where literally there's 30 fouls called on each team by like halftime this season. Guys are fouling out, almost fouling out. You're taking best players out of the games. You're watching the guy who's supposed to be the 2-time best player in the league shoot 17 free throws in a playoff game, a Western Conference playoff game. Like, the game shouldn't be played that way. You have Adam Silver commenting on it like, oh, I don't see them flopping. They're taught now to sell calls. That's not basketball. It doesn't look like basketball. You saw they made a conscious effort in game 6 after an abominable game 5. My rant was about game 4, where they rested the best player in the league for the last fourth quarter.
Right, I remember that.
They're down by 18 points with just over 7 minutes left, and they just sit them on the bench, where we watched the Knicks come back from 22 points down. I couldn't wrap my mind around it.
And that was the night before.
It was
a couple of nights before that the Knicks
right.
done it.
And I get it. If you're resetting for game 5, sure, I get it. But to me, every game's valuable. But then you saw in game 6, it was almost a complete reset. They were just swallowing the whistle. SGA shot 3 free throws. One of them was a play that they blatantly arm tackled. There was a flagrant foul. That one, it was like, all right, obviously they were just trying to hurt him. Like, say, hey, this is what a foul feels like. That was the only 2 free throws he shot in that game besides the technical. He had 3 free throws in that game. And they didn't even call that a flagrant, where I thought that was a flagrant. So they went from calling every foul to calling no fouls. And you saw the results change. When they called no fouls, the Spurs killed him. When they called a million fouls, the Thunder killed him. I just don't like the direction it seems like it's going. It's tough to watch. I'm curious to see what happens tonight. But if this is the way basketball is going to be played, I'm not going to be interested.
Right. So, Andrew, looking at that, you could almost take into where it's almost like they were admitting that they messed up. Maybe if it goes to that level. What do you think about his rant or whatever, the way the NBA is?
Well, I think the NBA knows it has a problem, right? I think they know whether it's the tanking issue they're trying to solve. I'd have to look at the actual viewership numbers, but I think Adam Silver and the rest of the NBA hierarchy knows kind of like what we're talking about here, right? Like whether we're complaining about the Celtics shooting too many threes, right? What Ryan was talking about, like the free throw difference. It's just too
The
inconsistent.
Celtics 3, you're almost talking more the analytics of the game,
Well,
the
right,
way
but
that
right,
that
but,
is,
but
right.
more and more teams are doing that. So I
Right,
think,
right.
I mean, I don't think Ryan's that far off. Where it just needs to be more consistent as far as like what we're going to call, what we're not going to call, right? And I think the NBA knows that it has a problem that if it doesn't get out ahead of it, then it could potentially become an issue where you get less and less people watching the sport.
Right. So I heard, I think I heard the other day something about them trying to use AI to help with calls.
They said it was the calls that weren't really in the ref's hands. Things like the out of bounds that was clearly missed, where like
Oh,
where it
okay.
was off of they
Okay.
called it off Wemby's foot, but it was clearly off Chet's foot, and they couldn't review it. AI is going to intervene and get those calls correct and
Okay.
take them out of
Okay.
the hands of
Almost
the
like
refs.
almost like a VAR
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
soccer.
Yeah, and the new pitch thing in
The ABS.
ABS.
Yeah,
I always
And
think
like the goaltender.
I always
that
think of breaks.
ABS. Well, yeah.
I don't know why. I think
The break systems.
that's me. You guys know me already. I could be a little weird sometimes. Sorry, guys. So again, keeping in this basketball, I mean the flopping, it sucks.
Yeah.
You know, I love the old school when you were going down, you went down for a reason. You know, like the way the NBA used to be. Some of these guys today, oh my God, they played back then. I don't even. I mean, they'd probably be the same type of player. They, you know, but it's with the times, it's with rules, it's with just everything. One thing I do want to touch on, and then we'll go to you first, Andrew, real quick. In the it's this whole Jaylen Brown saga. Whether it was with Stephen A. Smith, whether it's the whole city of Boston and Jaylen Brown, whether it's whether he wants to get traded or not. What do you think about that whole Jaylen Brown?
I mean, I think so. Let me just start off with, I think a sign of how the NBA views Jaylen Brown,
Right.
right,
Yeah, that's a good point.
is the fact I was expecting to be first team All NBA. And so, I get the NBA nowadays is very much more a positionless game, right? It's not like it was back in the probably up until what, like 2010-ish, right? It was like probably after that, maybe 2012 or to 15, where
15 years.
you know
15
it
years.
became like a positionless game, right? Where you have guys who are like in the center position, but you don't have two guards, two forwards,
Right.
center.
100%. 100%.
But either way, I thought the way Jaylen Brown played this year, having taken a team that some people thought were going to tank for a lottery pick or barely make the playoffs and bring them to the number 2 seed pretty much in the Eastern Conference. And the way he played, I mean, he put the numbers and carried this team. So I thought he was going to get the first NBA.
First team All NBA. Right.
So I saw he was second team. And I'm like, man, that's kind of like, if that probably still lose up Jaylen Brown sideways, because how are you going to say I'm not one of the top 5 best players in the NBA? And then you see that Joe Mazzulla got Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, do people around the NBA look at Jaylen Brown not as like an alpha?
One.
Right. Like
one.
they're basically saying, hey, yeah, the Celtics were this good this year, not because of Jaylen Brown and everything he did, but because of Joe Mazzulla, which is still wild. And I understand it's a regular season award. It's still wild to me because when you see them in the playoffs, you're like, clearly,
Oh,
like
something
Joe
different.
Mazzulla is not
A good
coach
coach.
of the year guy. No, he's not a good coach. So to me, that's curious. And I think that Jaylen Brown will they'll always say the right things. And I don't believe that he wants out of Boston, but I do believe that there's probably going to be conversations on if the conversation between Giannis coming to Boston, it would probably involve Jaylen Brown going to Milwaukee.
Oh, I don't think he ends up in Milwaukee if they make that trade.
So no, I think he would, because Milwaukee's not just going to give up Giannis and just go back down to 0. They're going to try and get someone like a Jaylen Brown that they can still put pieces around to try to be successful. And then Jaylen Brown can sell himself and be like, yeah, look what I just did in Boston. Right? I can do that in Milwaukee because I'm that guy. So to me, I think that's what's interesting. I just don't know, again, and Milwaukee might not view Jaylen Brown like that.
Right.
You know?
So let's get Ryan's thoughts on this. Because so what I'm getting from Andrew is as much as you hate Larry Bird, he hates Missoula.
100%. I will back that. 100. You want to put in a bucket? You're in Durant, Joe Mazzulla. They're just in a bucket together.
Now's your time. Who should be the big? If we get rid of Missoula, who should be their next coach?
Just say Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
All right.
That would be the perfect you'd be fitting for it, Larry Bird.
No, I see. I helped you there.
Yeah,
No, honestly, I know you have big opinions sometimes on these particular things, and the whole Jaylen Brown. You know another guy that, like Stephen A. Smith. Guy, sorry, I can't stand Stephen A. Smith. Not because I just think Stephen A. Smith is. I'm not saying there for the wrong reasons because he's making money.
Yeah.
But I just don't think the way he comes across is just something I don't particularly like most of the time. But with him and Jaylen Brown, it's just, to me, Jaylen, what are you doing, dude? Like, I just don't get the part of you. Okay, you got a great year. When you come out and say that it was your favorite season ever, and you were the MVP of a championship team. To me, that makes you sound like, why? Because Tatum wasn't there? And I get it. We want to be the number one guy. I 100% get it. But you also have to be okay when the team that you play for that pays your salary, if they have a chance where they feel they're going to get better by trading you, it's a business. You can't just baby all the time. You thought, oh my God, why are they trying to? It's business. The greatest players in NBA history have gotten traded. Am I wrong?
No, but I can see. No, but I can see why this would be his favorite season.
I get it.
It's not.
I get it.
I don't think it's
You
a slight on.
You look horrible.
No, I know,
saying
but
that.
but to me, it's especially in this area. I think it's always going to end up being, and it's unfortunate. It's always going to end up being anything that either Tatum or Brown say is always going to be magnified. And I'm not saying you're doing this, but it's always going to be magnified
You're saying
to compare.
that.
He's only saying it's his favorite season because Tatum wasn't around, or how could he say that because they wanted? You have to imagine, like there was a different amount of stress when they had that title run, and I'm sure it's one of his favorite seasons is winning a title. But this year it was a different type of challenge, and I think
I get it.
there was probably something.
I just
to it
think
where he
it's a
was like,
bad
you know what? There was just a different atmosphere and a different way that they had to go about it, and a different, like I said, challenge to succeeding. Where he probably looks back on it and he's like, man, it didn't end the way he wanted it to, but it was still probably something that he can look at and say, wow, there was growth, and there was growth from other players, and there were things that they had to overcome that people didn't expect them to. Whereas when they won that championship season, they were fully loaded. Everyone was expecting them to win, so it was just a little different. I have an issue with what Joe Mazzulla said, but he said that
Heck to Mazzulla.
God. Listen, did you hear what he said? It was something like, I wish I'd looked this up beforehand, but it was something like he enjoys the year they won the championship was like just as satisfying as this season.
Yeah, he's kind of a weird dude.
It's like, dude, how you can't tell me that this season is the same, or or you're more upset over that season than this season. Like we got
the whole Jaylen Brown saga. Like,
I'll try to give you my thoughts about everything because I got asked a couple different. I brought up Stephen A. and some things like that. So I think Stephen A. I used to like him a little bit more back in the day with Skip. I felt like he was a little bit more knowledgeable. Now I feel like it's just more of a personality thing for him. So I don't particularly love Stephen A. myself. I agree with you there. I think that Andrew was pretty spot on with as it pertains to how Jaylen Brown was prefacing this season as his favorite. I think just in a different role, right? Like if you have a running back who's on the team as the backup and they win the Super Bowl, if the guy goes down and he's the starter, he's going to have more fun just being more to that team. Jaylen Brown was just more of the focal point. It was different for him, where he's usually the Rob and this year was the Batman. So I think he meant it more in that aspect.
I get it. I get it. But winning the MVP,
it's not like
MVP. It's not like, and I'll let you continue your thoughts, but to me, it's not like when they won it, he was
doing
the backup running back.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
He was a Files MVP.
Right.
So I get it. I think that he meant more or less like the regular season.
I get it. I get it.
A couple different ways.
Right.
But what I was to touch on the Mazzulla Jaylen Brown thing, which is where this kind of started. I do think it was interesting that I've gone on record saying I think Tatum's better than Brown, right?
Right.
I will also go on record saying that I think Jaylen Brown deserves to be on the first team All NBA this year.
Over who, real quick.
Well, who was on it? I'd have to say
It was the two guys that you argue would be Luka and the kid from Detroit.
Cade Cunningham, so I put him over Cade Cunningham.
Okay.
But what I would do is to continue on with this, is that I would think that why wouldn't Bickerstaff be more considered to be coach of the year this year with the Pistons turned around and they were the number 1 seed. Yeah. They've been horrible for years. They were the 1 seed. They won the most games in the East, right? Like, or you get the Spurs getting to
so that helps this point.
It's like,
I
think that they did kind of snub Jaylen Brown there. I don't think Cade Cunningham had a great season, but they even kind of manipulated the rules where he was in.
Yeah, that's the part that I didn't like. That's the part that
Jaylen Brown was a clear top 5 player this year. He belonged on the All-NBA first team, and giving Mazzulla the coach of the year is kind of just like them pushing him aside. So I didn't like that. I felt like they were more deserving candidates to win the coach of the year than Mazzulla this year, and it's interesting that they did it this way because I agree with you.
Andrew, when you say that point about why Detroit's guy didn't get it, it kind of makes your point,
right?
It really does. I think about it, but we're gonna end this basketball season because next year it'll be Giannis will be here, so I'm excited to see that. Sports Talk.